Now, we have a map that is going to come up and on this
there you go.
in just a second. Here it is. Perfect. So here we have Syria. Indeed, as you see, this green part is what is controlled by the Syrian government. This orange part is all the part that is controlled by the Kurdish, basically PYD, YPG forces. Now, indeed, they have grown a large chunk of territory here along the Turkish border. Turkey is right here. And where most of the fighting is concentrating right now is here in Afrin. Now, this is the first part in which the Kurds actually set up what we have now, which is a kind of a proto-state, if you will, especially in all this part. I've been there, indeed, earlier on last year in November. I was there again, and indeed what we have here is indeed a zone which is completely controlled, administrated by the PYD party and secured by Syrian Democratic Forces, which are a force which combines both Kurdish fighters and Arab fighters. They are indeed under the control of the YPG. Now, indeed, what's been happening here is that for the Turkish, the Turks consider that the YPG is part of PKK, or is an emanation of the
insurgents, the Kurdish insurgency that they're fighting since 2015.
Exactly. Indeed. Well, no, they've been at war with PKK. Absolutely, right, yes. But it started back in 1984. Sure. And indeed, Abdullah Öcalan, who is the leader of the PKK, is in prison in Turkey. And indeed, the Western forces consider that the YPG is something different from PKK, but indeed, for the Turks, it is the same organization. Now, roughly a week ago, what the Americans did was say they wanted to form a border force to secure the border along Syria with Turkey of about 30,000 men, and they said that half the armored personnel deployed there would be YPG fighters. And this, of course, to Turkey is totally unacceptable. They say that amounts to creating a terrorist army along the border with Turkey, and this is why they've launched Operation Olive Branch. Now, this is very much the problem. Now, as you can see, there is this enclave of Afrin, and for the moment, the Turks are concentrating their effort here. And
just to be clear, Afrin is not part of that U.S. protected zone.
Well, this is what the US is saying now. What they were saying before is that basically, if we can have that previous map eventually again, but the YPG and Syrian Democratic Forces helped the US and the coalition fight the Islamic State group in this part, if you like, which is here. And indeed, they're the forces that liberated Raqqa with the help of the US Army. Now, they were indeed very much allies, and the US has got bases close to Manbij. They've got personnel in this part. Indeed, they have military presence in this northern part of Syria, which is under YPG control. But indeed, they say, the Americans say, that they have no military presence in Afrin, and that all they can do is indeed work on the diplomatic front.